When we are helping teams and organizations to make sense of the projects on which they're working, we often use a one-off diagnostic as part of a collection of 7 or 8 ratings which explore their perceptions, beliefs, and feelings. This asks the individuals to indicate whether they are naturally more focused on relationships or logic in their work. When combined with another rating which asks them whether they tend to be more reserved or more assertive, this gives them a simple framework to understand how they and their teammates are likely to behave when it comes to things like decision-making, uncertainty, project pace, communication, and many other attributes of collaborative working. Most projects tend to be framed and defined by the documents and reports that they generate. Everything from the business case, cost estimates, and the schedule to design drawings, variance reports, and milestones. All of which sit firmly in the camp of logic-focused, or of what writer and broadcaster Nora Bateson would call cold data. Information that is precise, measurable, extractable, and comparable. What is the plan? When will things happen, and how much does it cost? However, big projects tend to be associated with environments that are complex and uncertain, and they operate as part of larger economic, social, or technical systems. This is the world of what Nora would call warm data, which describes the relationships between the people on the project, between those people and elements of the project, and between the different physical and temporal elements of the project. Another way of thinking about this is in terms of 2 types of reality: brute reality and social reality. Brute reality describes those things you might think of as the laws of physics. Gravity, the boiling point of water, the fact that a fire requires oxygen to burn. Much of the civil, structural, or mechanical aspect of any project will be defined in terms of brute reality. Social reality, as the name suggests, depends on a shared acceptance of a whole raft of norms of behaviour. If I describe this image as my home, your view of this concept is founded on a shared, cultural understanding of the word home, which might include where I come from, where I feel I belong, my place of sanctuary, my family, and so on. It is also founded on a shared acceptance of the concept of ownership, my home. Home ownership brings with it rights and responsibilities. For example, the social norms that prevent you from walking into my home and helping yourself to food from the fridge. Our relationship to people, things, and social norms is built on our experience, our background, our values, beliefs, and feelings. If you think about it, the expression my home carries all of that psychological baggage. So why is all this warm data, these relationships and values, so significant in the context of projects and the work that we do to deliver them? Because these are the things that drive our behaviour, that inform our attitude to risk and to reward, and that frame the decisions we take and the actions that ensue. The emerging discipline of human-centric data involves techniques that enable you to gather, share, and leverage small amounts of data on what people think, believe, and feel as part of the normal cycle of project progress meetings. The approach provides you with access to a whole new perspective on the relationships and the behaviours that are forming and influencing your whole endeavour. More than that, it gives you and everyone you are working with the means to anticipate, adapt to, and address the inevitable challenges you will face at some stage in the project's development. If you'd like to know more about human-centric data, how you can gather, share, and use it, how you can combine it with traditional project controls data, and what happens when you do, then contact us at Team Animation.